Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to a bleak and nearly inhospitable land in northern Siberia, Russia. The village of Kheta is on the Taimyr Peninsula, which extends into the Arctic Ocean. The temperatures here range from an average low of -3 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter to an average high temperature in July of 77 degrees Fahrenheit. In winter, there is an average of only 2 hours of daylight, and the elevation is around 1,000 feet above sea level. The land here is tundra, that is sparse and open for the most part. There are small bushes of willow big enough to limit visibility in the lower areas with occasional stands of stunted trees. The predominant animals here are caribou, moose, elk, wild boar, and Siberian Musk Deer. The common predators are brown bears, wolves, Arctic and red fox, as well as Eurasian Lynx. It is in this bleak yet wild setting that our episode takes place. When you think of the Arctic, you probably think of the polar bear as being the predominant predator that could pose a danger, but there is more to the issue than meets the eye. Brown bears are actually very common in the land areas of the Arctic. There is a strange phenomenon that exists between these two bears that makes interbreeding rare and difficult. It ties back into the animal's survival strategy. The polar bear hunts and gets fatter during the winter time, when ice packs form and cover up large spans of open water, leaving only breathing holes for seals and whales to breathe through. This makes for an abundance of food for the polar bears during the winter months, who simply hunt over the breathing holes in the ice. Brown bears, in contrast, fatten up on sedge grasses, the eggs of birds and calves of caribou, plus winter-killed carcasses in the spring. They continue to grow larger while feeding on berries in the brief berry seasons. This means that brown bear and polar bear active seasons, and consequently their breeding seasons are offset from each other. Given both animals prefer different habitats, with polar bears preferring to hunt along the ice edge and brown bears hunting more inland, they don't have a great chance of meeting up for breeding. That is how two different types of bear exist on the same territory, but do not often interbreed. As you can see, in the Arctic there is a bear species that can threaten human safety no matter what season it is. September is a very crucial month for brown bears, but then again, every month of the feeding season is. On September 23rd, a 6-year-old boy, whom we will call Ivan, and his twin sister, whom we will call Olga, were playing with other children from their village on a helicopter pad. The pad served as a way outside services, and light-duty goods could be brought into the villagers when other means were not possible. The children were unaware that this year had been difficult for local brown bears, and a huge and hungry one was watching them from the bushes nearby. It wasn't clear if the bear had been brought in by the smells emanating from the city garbage cans, the sounds of the children, or if it was just wandering by and stumbled upon them. Whatever the reason was, it was disastrous for Ivan, his sister, and their village. As the kids ran around and chased each other, the brown bear honed in on Ivan. Perhaps he was the closest one, but for some strange reason Ivan drew the bear's attention. It burst from the nearby bushes and quickly slammed the boy into the ground and began biting and clawing at him. It began dragging him into the bushes as he kicked and screamed for help. Olga had seen the attack, and she and the other children fled as fast as they could, as Ivan futilely struggled against the hungry bear's intentions to kill him and feed on him. It wasn't but a few seconds before Ivan was still and lifeless. Olga ran all the way back to her village, screaming in terror, and quickly alerted adults in the village. An armed response team was rapidly rounded up and began searching for the bear. They scoured the bushes near the area for several hours before finally locating it a short distance away. They fired their rifles, and the upset Ursus lay as still as the snow around him. There is no report I could find in my research on the condition of the bear, but it is logical to say that most brown bears, even hungry ones, do not frequently hunt people. It is fair to assume that it was driven by the need to fatten up to survive winter, but we have no information regarding its weight, age, nor condition. But pictures of the dead bear are posted on my Patreon account, linked below, and they show that the bear appeared to be in good shape.
The Russian version of the FBI, called the Russian Investigative Committee, investigated the incident, and it appeared to be a clear-cut case of a predatory attack on a human being with the intent to feed upon them. This is nothing new to people living in remote regions of Russia. One commenter on one of the articles I found in my research stated that they were taught to fire high-powered hunting rifles as children, because the bears frequently came into town and might threaten them or others. Other commenters indicated that as children they would find bear tracks in their boot tracks while walking home from school. One thing is certain, the closer we live to prime bear habitat, the more likely dangerous and even deadly runs-in with them will be. They survive in an economy, not based on money but on calories, and each time they spend energy, they are calculating the risks versus the rewards, just like shrewd businessmen with sharp teeth and claws. Knowing this, we must recognize that the most vulnerable targets will be seen as the easiest meal to them. To deny this possibility and reality is pure fantasy, and one that will cost people their lives and the bears as well.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.